Well, greetings, my friends. Thank you all very much for joining me on this Marvel Masterpiece Theater, Volume 4. I have no idea where the weeks go, but they do indeed go. And with that, I will start off. Sir Henry is not here presently. I don't exactly know where he is. Usually he's here before I am, but he's somewhere in the Racer X mansion. I don't know. Danger Room practice is over for the day, so I know he's not there. Who knows? But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get into it. And yeah, so got my trusty Wolverine album. I'm going to go ahead and move you there, my good friend. And yeah, before I started, I went ahead and pulled the sheet of the 9-card collage that we're going to refer to today. And you can see this is kind of the darker, mystique, more mystery-oriented side of the Marvel Universe, as you see Doctor Strange right there in the middle. And I do love the lore on this side of the Marvel Universe. I don't know if there is a side that I don't like, actually, in the Marvel Universe. But anyhow, this is the subset Siege of Darkness. So it looks like we have Sister Nil. Then we have Strange. Sister Nil. Strange. And who is this? Victoria Montesi. I can't remember Victoria Montesi. Then we have Morbius, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Blade, Blaze. I do believe Blaze and Ghost Rider have history. And then we have Vengeance. So I'll be curious to see what this is all about. I'll be back momentarily. I'm going to take these guys out of their sleeves so that we can take a deep dive. Okay, my good friends, I am back. Thank you very much for sticking with me. And yeah, so this is the first card. By the way, I still have no idea where Sir Henry is, but, you know, maybe we'll find out before next episode. I don't know. Sister Nil. So let's see what is to be said for Sister Nil. Who is Sister Nil? What is she all about? Is she good? Is she bad? Is she somewhere in between? The reluctant servant of Doctor Strange, whose touch causes rapid, rotting death. Well, that's not pleasant. It began with a mysterious mist spreading outwards across New York from Cypress Hills Cemetery, Ghost Rider's home. As he and his allies, the Midnight Suns, entered the mist to investigate, they found the world inside transformed, the people within slowly dissolving away, and the demonic entities known as Lilin running rampant. Too late, the Midnight Suns realized that their worst fears had come to pass. The walls separating the supernatural dimensions from our own had crumbled, and the Lilin's shadow side world had spilled into ours. I definitely want to read that storyline. That sounds amazing. All right. Sister Lynn. And then we're going to go to Strange. Just Strange. I myself am strange and unusual. I remember that from Beetlejuice. Strange, mystically powered berserker with a mysterious connection to Dr. Stephen Strange, okay? So that checks. Inside the debilitating Shadowside mist, the Midnight Suns split into two strike forces. One team, including Ghost Rider, Blaze, and Vengeance, raced to Cypress Hill Cemetery where their deadliest foes, Lilith and Zarathos, had supposedly died. Instead, they discovered that their enemies were not only alive, but had joined forces. Their combined might drove Ghost Rider's strike force into retreat, led by the mysterious Caretaker through a maze of underground tunnels. But Zarathos was in hot pursuit. Yeah, I do believe it was Lydia from Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder played. I absolutely love that movie. I love the character Lydia. I love Beetlejuice. It's just... Yep. Victoria Montesi. I am not familiar with her either. Heir to a legacy of black magic that helps her find and fight occult horrors. Interesting. As Ghost Rider's strike force fled for their lives from Zarathos, the other strike force, led by Morbius, sought a way to counteract the debilitating Shadowside mist that had blanketed New York, but they were ambushed by the Lilin again and again, as if the supernatural villains knew their every move in advance. Unknown even to himself, Morbius had been infected with Lilin blood, which turned him into a Lilin and forced him to betray his allies. When the Midnight Suns least expected it, Morbius betrayed them, murdering Professor Lewis Hastings and handing the rest of them over to Lilith and Zarathos, that fiend. How could he? Morbius. Naughty Morbius. It was not nice. It was not nice. All right, Morbius. The living vampire, which is contradictory, but anyhow, determined only to drink the blood of those who are evil. Having escaped Zarathos, Caretaker, Ghost Rider, and a strike force of Midnight Suns took refuge in Doctor Strange's mansion. But when their erstwhile ally, Morbius, who unbeknownst to them had turned traitor, was allowed to enter the mansion, he brought the devastating Shadowside mist and its Lilin inhabitants with him. In the course of the fierce battle that followed, Morbius was able to shake the hold of his Lilin side, helping Ghost Rider to drive the Lilin out of the mansion and freeing the Midnight Suns who were held hostage. But the greatest challenge lay ahead, the showdown with Lilith and Zarathos. Morbius, you have redeemed yourself, good sir. Outstanding. What happens next? So we've got Doctor Strange. Each one of these little mini storylines would make such excellent anime. Earth's sorcerer supreme who defends our world from mystical menaces. Caretaker had warned Ghost Rider that Zarathos was really after the Medallion of Power, a mystical artifact so potent it had been split into 3 parts. Those medallion fragments had been incorporated into the essences of the 3 spirits of vengeance, Ghost Rider, Blaze, and Vengeance. So, in a showdown with Zarathos and Lilith, the spirits of vengeance combined their power for the first time, using it to drive Lilith and the shadow side from the earth forever. But Zarathos remained, joined at the last moment by a new menace, his once banished followers, the Fallen. Just when you think it's over, folks. Just when you think it's over. And that brings us to Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, the flaming-skulled spirit of vengeance who protects the innocent. And that's what I like about him. Zarathos and the Fallen, ancient, evil beings of power, reunited on Earth for the first time in millennia, struck instantly. Caretaker was captured and tortured for his knowledge, but not before he got a message to the Midnight Suns. The Fallen were of Caretaker's race, known as the Blood, but had turned to evil. The only hope of stopping them was to contact other members of the Blood and get their aid before the Fallen located them and converted them to their evil cause, or killed them. So the Midnight Suns scattered across the globe in a desperate race against time. As told in Night Stalkers number 15, and Ghost Rider number 45, January 1994. And that brings us to Blade. Vampire hunter born with an immunity to the bite of the undead and determined to stamp out the supernatural. I remember I enjoy every vampire hunter story. Van Helsing being the first. I also love some Vampire Hunter D, but anyhow. Having done all they could to safeguard the supernatural race known as the Blood from Zarathos and the Fallen, the Midnight Suns returned to Doctor Strange's mansion. There they discovered one of the Fallen, Salome, in pitched battle with Doctor Strange. The conflict was so fierce that Strange's venerable mansion was utterly destroyed. When the smoke cleared, Salome was the victor, claiming the mantle of Sorceress Supreme, and Strange was apparently dead, or was he? Blaze. See if it tells about the connection between Blaze and Ghost Rider. Reluctant hero who uses his Hellfire shotgun to stop supernatural evil. Nothing like kicking open a front door with a Hellfire shotgun to scare away unwanted trespassers. As if the loss of Doctor Strange and his mansion was not enough, tragedy was soon to strike the Midnight Suns again, this time in a struggle to the death between Ghost Rider and his antithesis, Zarathos. Little did anyone realize that Zarathos was secretly siphoning the energy of his followers, the Fallen, to make his powers even greater. Against such overwhelming force, Ghost Rider could not triumph, and he was murdered and absorbed into the triumphant Zarathos. With the most powerful spirit of vengeance gone, the chances for the other Midnight Suns looked bleak indeed. Not an easy feat to do, to defeat and destroy Ghost Rider. So let's see what Vengeance has to say on the subject, shall we? Vengeance. Made in Ghost Rider's image, he uses Hellfire to deal out his own ruthless brand of justice. Driven by the memories of their slain comrades, the remaining Midnight Suns determined to end Zarathos' reign of terror once and for all, and they had finally had the means to do it. One of the ancient race known as the Blood had given them a mystic sword crafted solely for the purpose of slaying Zarathos. Once again, the scene of combat shifted to Cypress Hills Cemetery, only this time the Midnight Suns had turned some of the once evil Fallen to their side. Deprived of the power of his followers and attacked from within by the spirit of Ghost Rider he had absorbed, Zarathos fell prey to the mystic sword, putting an end to him and his siege of darkness. Well, that was a very interesting tale, The Siege of Darkness, subset, I should say. Let me know what you guys thought about that tale and the cards, or any thoughts you may have at all. Thank you very... Oh, got somebody at the door. Yes, Jeeves, come on in. Jeeves has a note for me, folks. Let me read this off to the side here. Dear Sir, it appears Sir Henry is outside. Jeeves, your handwriting is outside. You might want to look through the window. Sincerely yours, Jeeves. Well, thank you, Jeeves. So, let's take a look outside the window, folks. Oh, dear Lord. Well, good news is we found Sir Henry. Bad news is he's wrestling something. It is most certainly not a fox. It is much larger than a fox. I'm going to have to get to it, guys. I may call some backup on this one as well, because that does not look good. If Sir Henry walks normally after that, I'm going to be surprised. Anyway, thank you all very much for joining me this evening. I'm going to be posting it on Thursday for everybody to view. And yeah, without further ado, I need to head out of here. But thank you all for your support. And have a good one. Be safe. Good to each other. Have fun collecting and all that. And I will talk to you again soon.